All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. As I said several weeks ago, when the New York Jets clearly illustrated that they were once again on the fast track to nowhere, that this season was simply going to be a fact finding mission for first year head coach Aaron Glenn. And after the Jets officially threw in the towel after the trade deadline earlier this month, it's all about seeing who Glenn will be keeping for 2026. And after the Jets stockpile some picks following the trades of cornerback Sauce Gardner and defensive tackle Quentin Williams, there are some people who are wondering if New York is going to use its newfound draft capital in order to find themselves a quarterback, whether it be through the draft, free agency, or via trade. Or I take that back. Really, I mean, free agency, clearly they wouldn't have to use the picks. But nonetheless, one thing is for certain, and that is whomever is going to be the Jets starting quarterback for 2026, that person is currently not on their roster. I say this because, all right, last spring the Jets decided to give quarterback and former first round pick Justin Fields an opportunity to be Gang Green starting quarterback. And after the season did begin with some optimism for Fields and this Jets offense, clearly after the first game of the season against Pittsburgh, Fields to me is showing that he is not the guy for this team. And honestly, this is Fields' third different NFL team in the last 3 years, and he's been in the NFL for 5 years. Okay, and you have to wonder, okay, at this point in the game, how many more opportunities that he's going to get. Now, you look at this Jets team for this season, and there are going to be some people who are going to say it's not all on Justin Fields. I totally get it, but he's not a solution to the problem either. Okay. You look at it in 9 games this season as a Jets starting quarterback, Fields is 2-7, and his record overall in the NFL as a starting quarterback is 16-37. He's only thrown 7 touchdowns this season. He does have one interception, okay, but nonetheless, he's had a couple of fumbles. Big fumble last night in the loss, or pardon me, on Thursday night to the New England Patriots, and he's completing just under 63% of his throws for the season. Now, for me, if one is an accident and two is a trend, what does that make Justin Fields? In 5 years in the NFL, Fields has never been on an offense that was higher than 20th in the National Football League. So far this season, the Jets are 29th in offense while they're 28th in passing. Now, you look at Fields, he is not a pocket passer, okay? I think that is a given. And especially this year, more than ever, I see a guy who's just completely unsure of himself if he's got to go back there and stay in that pocket. You look at Fields, if that first read is not there, it's not happening. And then his athleticism, yes, will allow him to make great plays if he scrambles around. If he doesn't see something, he can break it off and he could take off downfield. Now, don't get me wrong. The talent right now for the Jets on offense is not there at the wide receiver and tight end position, especially without Garrett Wilson there. The Jets have a lot of holes, okay? But like I said before, Fields, in my opinion, is not a solution for the problem. You look at things right now, and Aaron Glenn's patience, I think, is clearly waning for Justin Fields, who was on the verge of being benched earlier this season for Tyrod Taylor, had it not been for some injuries. And of course, Aaron Glenn is talking about the quarterback position and reevaluating things as we go along. So, again, I don't think Justin Fields is a long term option for the Jets. He signed a 2-year deal, okay, but he's got 20 million guaranteed for next season. That's going to be very interesting because if you're the Jets, do you release him and just eat the money, or do you bring him back and allow him to compete with somebody else possibly? I think if you were to bring him back, maybe if they drafted a quarterback, but even still, I don't think that Justin Fields would want to be a lame duck guy. But at this state of the game, like I said before, how many more opportunities is he going to get with the team to be a starter? Now, $20 million to be a backup, you know what? That's a cushy job right there. But we have to see where that domino falls in that situation. But nonetheless, you look at things and you ask yourself, what are the Jets' best options at quarterback for 2026? Well, there looks like there's going to be limited options in the draft for them. And of course, the Jets look like they're going to be picking in the top 10. They have the Colts pick, the Colts first round pick for 2026. They have three first round picks in 2027. Could they use that draft capital to possibly go out there and get a quarterback from another team? We have to wait and see. Looks like it might be slim pickings again in free agency. I know people are naturally monitoring the Kyler Murray situation with the Arizona Cardinals potentially. I don't see Kyler Murray fitting into what Aaron Glenn and the Jets need. But the bottom line is this: all signs point to Glenn getting a mulligan this year as a Jets starting quarterback. But make no mistake about it, he is going to have to find his guy in the off season because I know that Glenn was a fan favorite of the Jets when he played, first round pick in 1994 out of Texas A&M. But the bottom line is you can't get too many mulligans in the National Football League as a head coach. You've got to go out there and you've got to get it right, especially at the quarterback position. Like I said, Justin Fields gets that guaranteed $20 million next season. And again, like I said, doesn't matter who is running the front office for the Jets, who's coaching the Jets. The Jets are always going to be the Jets. So, with that said, is there any hope that Glenn and the Jets are going to get ahead of this thing? Well, I think that Aaron Glenn, okay, is following the road that the guy he worked for previously worked for did, Dan Campbell. If you go back to Dan Campbell's time with the Lions, when he first got there, they were god awful. Okay, that first year was not pretty. They started to put it together the second half of the year, but like towards the end of his second year, should I say? But it's still one of those where with Dan Campbell, he was able to go out there and get his guy at quarterback when he made the trade, sending Matt Stafford to the Rams for Jared Goff. And of course, think that trade worked out for both teams. Granted, the Rams are the team who have won the championship so far. Uh, Maybe Aaron Glenn is trying to do something similar. Again, like I said, this year is a fact finding mission. He's trying to find the guys that fit his system. Sauce Gardner and Quentin Williams didn't fit his system, which is why they traded him, but not traded them. But nonetheless, he still needs to go out there and find his guy at quarterback. He still needs to go out there and find guys at the skill position. They need a healthy Garrett Wilson going forward if he is going to be in the long term plans of this team. The offensive line, a lot of question marks for this Jets team, but the biggest question mark continues to be quarterback. And for far too long, whether it's been Aaron Glenn or anybody else in that head coaching position for the Jets, they have consistently missed out on finding and developing the most important position on the football field. He whiffed this season clearly at quarterback with Fields. He cannot afford to whiff again because I guarantee you, as much as people like Aaron Glenn, as much as the fans like him, if he whiffs again next offseason on the quarterback, whether it's in a trade, draft, free agency, whatever, okay, his tenure as the Jets head coach is not going to be that long. He put some stock rather in Justin Fields this season. Hasn't worked out. So let's see what's next for Aaron Glenn, Justin Fields, and this wacky but predictable quarterback situation right now for Gang Green. But folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank each and every one of you for checking out the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. And as always, if you like what you heard and saw on this podcast, you know what to do. Just hit that like button as well as subscribing to this channel. And like I always say, it's greatly appreciated. Also, if you are on the X, formerly known as Twitter, You can check me out anytime at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you give me that follow, it will be my pleasure to do the same in return. Also, if you are on Instagram, check me out at 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge. And just like it is on the X, give me that follow. I'll do the same in return. And also, if you're on Facebook, definitely check out the Sports Depot 365. And as far as I'm concerned, one of the better sports groups going on social media. But until next time, fine folks, my name is William Martin. I am signing off, and I'm saying thanks once again for checking out the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. Be well, everybody.